Hello everyone and welcome back. In today's video, we'll be shooting at 5-gallon water jugs just like this one here at a distance of 300 yards with a .308 and a 6.5 Creedmoor. And we'll use a pair of Bergara B14 HMR rifles to make those shots. Both rifles are nearly identical in that they both have the same muzzle brake, the exact same scope, and the same trigger. Both rifles will use the factory trigger at the beginning of the video to make 2 shots each, and then both will receive an upgrade to the Trigger Tech Diamond Trigger, but only one rifle will be used to make the final shot. This video will also serve as part 2 to the Trigger Tech video that was recently released. In that video, I asked the question, if you had just one opportunity to take one shot, and poor shot placement was not an option, what trigger would you run? Today you will see my first attempt with the upgraded trigger to make that kind of shot. We'll start by shooting the .308 168 grain gold medal match, and then the 6.5 Creedmoor 140 grain gold medal match. Both rounds are using the Sierra Match King bullet. We will then run the test a second time. On the second go round, we will use the ELD match from Hornady and stay with the exact same bullet weights of 168 grain for the .308 and 140 grain for the 6.5 Creedmoor. Here is a closer look at that .308 and 6.5 Creedmoor Federal Gold Medal match, and here they are again from Hornady. When taken apart, the 168 grain .308s are the 2 on the left, and the 140 grain Creedmoors are the 2 on the right, and here is a closer look at each. Now I have chronographed these rounds off camera, and would like to give you a quick overview of what their speed and energy numbers are, and then we'll go out into the field and see how that actually plays out. As you get ready to see these numbers, it is important to realize that the .308 was fired from a 20-inch barrel, and the 6.5 Creedmoor was fired from a 22-inch barrel. While there is certainly no getting around the fact that that is a slight advantage favoring the Creedmoor, the .308 had something working in its favor that was also to its advantage. Remember that we will be shooting at 300 yards. The distance of 400 yards is generally thought of as the break-even line, meaning that anything inside of 400 yards and the .308 will arrive with more foot-pounds of energy, and anything beyond 400 is where the Creedmoor catches up due to its better ballistic coefficient and will hit harder the further it goes beyond 400 yards in most cases. Since they each had one thing to their advantage, they seem to be on reasonably even footing. What you are looking at here are the 5-shot averages for the Federal Gold Medal match. These are the muzzle velocity and energy numbers. Notice that the Creedmoor has the better ballistic coefficient of 0.535 compared to 0.462. The Creedmoor is only 2.6% faster at the muzzle, while the .308 has nearly 14% more foot-pounds of energy. But here are the numbers at 300 yards. The 6.5 Creedmoor will now have a 6.3% speed advantage over the .308, and the .308 will no longer have a 14% advantage in terms of foot-pounds of energy, but will still cling to a 6% edge in that category. Here are the 5-shot averages for the ELD match. Notice that the ballistic coefficient for the .308 is at 0.523, which is a considerable improvement over the 0.462 that the gold medal match offered. Also of note is that the 6.5 Creedmoor BC is greatly improved as well. It is now a 0.646, which is up from the 0.535 gold medal match. The muzzle velocity numbers show a slight speed edge in favor of the .308, 2679 feet per second compared to 2641 feet per second, which equates to a 1.4% edge. But the real advantage for the .308 is the energy numbers of 2677 foot-pounds of energy compared to 2168 foot-pounds of energy for the Creedmoor. That is a brutal 23% more. Put another way, the difference of 509 foot-pounds of energy is roughly the same amount that a .45 Auto Plus P would offer. Are we honestly to believe that the better ballistic coefficient that the 6.5 Creedmoor offers will help to make this even close at 300 yards? Let's find out. Here are the 300-yard numbers. Rather than being at a speed disadvantage of 1.4%, the 6.5 Creedmoor now has a 2.4% speed advantage over the .308. The .308 still has the advantage in energy, but instead of being 23% more, it's 14% more. Rather than being at a 509 foot-pound advantage, the difference is down to 224 foot-pounds. So no longer a 45 auto plus P, but more along the lines of a good solid 380 worth of difference if we're sticking with the handgun metaphors. In short, this is not just a comparison between the 6.5 Creedmoor and 308, but also between ELD match and gold medal match, and lest we forget, between a factory trigger and the Trigger Tech Diamond. Let's go to work. We're getting ready to shoot at this 5-gallon water jug from a distance of 300 yards using the 308 168 grain gold medal match from Federal. Well, I'm walking up right now to the 5-gallon water jug that was just hit at a distance of 300 yards using the 308 168 grain Federal gold medal match. It would appear at first glance that nothing is really wrong with the water jug until, of course, you get to the back side of it. And then you can see what's happened here. There is a massive exit hole on the back. And if you look real close, you can see the shot placement was about as good as we could really hope for at 300 yards, almost perfect shot placement. Let's turn that over and take a look at it. So we were obviously aiming for the diamond. We hit right there. That's about as good as what we can hope for. It certainly blew the cap right off of it. The cap was tightly secured, as they have been in all of these shots. Blew it right off of there. And blew the handle off the back of it as well. We're getting ready to shoot at this 5-gallon water jug from 300 yards with a 6.5 Creedmoor 140 grain gold medal match. Well, I'm walking up right now to the 5-gallon water jug that was just hit at a distance of 300 yards using 6.5 Creedmoor 140 grain gold medal match. It looks to me like it almost cut this thing in half. You can see the backside, massive damage on the back side of it. Somewhat of an accordion is what it resembles. Let's see where the shot placement was on the front. Respectable shot placement. I was aiming for the orange circle, obviously. Hit, I don't know, maybe a quarter of an inch, maybe a third of an inch below the circle. Almost dead center. So at 300 yards, we can accept that. And again, the back side, there you go. Not a lot left of this thing. It would appear that 140 grain bullets from 6.5 Creedmoor and 5-gallon water jugs are not compatible with one another. We're getting ready to shoot at this 5-gallon water jug from 300 yards with a 308 168 grain ELD match from Hornady. Well, I'm walking up right now to the water jug that was just hit at a distance of 300 yards using 308 168 grain ELD match from Hornady. Let's take a look and see what's left of this. As you can tell, it blew it in half. There's no doubt about that. Let's see where we had made contact with it at. Okay, so we made contact, it looks like just a hair above the sticker. So pretty much, dead center shot placement at 300 yards. Nothing to really complain about. Not much to see there. Let's go take a look at the top half of this water jug that was blown in half. Yep, the cap was blown off of it as well. Somebody may complain that the cap came off, I don't know. But the point I'm trying to make here is that when you have enough speed, cap coming off or not, when there's enough speed, there's just not much left of these things. We're getting ready to shoot at this 5-gallon water jug from 300 yards with the 6.5 Creedmoor 140 grain ELD match. Walking up right now to the 5-gallon water jug that was just hit at a distance of 300 yards using 6.5 Creedmoor 140 grain ELD match by Hornady. It looked to me that it lifted the whole thing off the ground and certainly blew it in half. Let's see what happened here. There's the lower half, obviously, and the half that got hit. It looks like the shot placement, let's pick this up here. See if we can find some shot placement on this for you. All right, so shot placement, it would appear, was maybe, I don't know, 2 inches, 2.5 inches to the right. The elevation was pretty much perfect, dead center, just a little bit off to the right. But apparently you do not need to hit perfect bullseyes with this particular ammunition in order to get the job done. It is a very forgiving bullet, apparently. As the days went by, I couldn't help wondering about better shot placement with that Creedmoor ELD match, and what kind of results it might have yielded. After all, it was the only one of the 4 where shot placement was borderline at best. So in order to avoid developing a bias, both rifles got a trigger tech upgrade. This is my very first attempt since the upgrade to make it happen. Please notice a little wider camera angle so that we can capture everything in case it goes sky high again. Here is that original angle, and here is the new angle again. Without any further delay, we're getting ready to shoot at this water jug from 300 yards with the 6.5 Creedmoor 140 grain ELD match. Well, I'm walking up to the 5-gallon water jug that was just hit at a distance of 300 yards using 6.5 Creedmoor 140 grain ELD match from Hornady. Let's see what happened here. I'm pretty sure that the shot placement was respectable enough today. That is the lower half of this thing, of what's left of it. Still some water in there. And you can see that there was a handle right there. But let's not make you wait any longer. Let's see what kind of shot placement we had on this thing today. To understand the shot placement, you need to understand that there was a handle right here. Normally, we would just look at the sticker on the other side and see if I was close to the sticker. The sticker is gone. But typically, I line up that sticker with the handle that you would normally see right there. So the handle would be right about there. So my shot placement was pretty much dead center and maybe 1/2 inch to the right at 300 yards is my best estimate for you. Well, I thought that sticker was long gone, but it has turned up. It was flipped upside down in the mud. But you can see that sure enough, just as I had suspected, just a little bit to the right of dead center. This is the water jug just prior to impact that was hit with the 6.5 Creedmoor ELD match when we had the better shot placement. And here is the exact moment of impact, also known as frame 1. Here in frame 2, the explosion has begun in earnest. And here in frame 3, it appears as if there are dual rocket boosters that have kicked in to send this water jug to the moon and back. Here we have zoomed in on frame 3 to get a better look at the rocket boosters. And now we have zoomed back out and we're ready to move forward. Here in frames 4 through 9, as you see the water jug gaining altitude, it is worth noting that there is actually a good amount of water still inside of the jug that is going up with it. And in frame 9, that is the last frame that we actually see the complete water jug before it begins to leave our view. Here in frames 10 and 11, we start to lose sight of the water jug, but it is worth noting the large amount of water at the top of the screen that is still visible. By frame 12, the water jug was completely out of view, and it wasn't until frame 38 before it could be seen in full again. Please note that it still contained a reasonable amount of water, even in frame 38.